What's up, guys? I'm Nick Vitus with the Vitus Garage Auto Blog. This is Dick Hoagland with the TBird Specialist. And we've thrown out a few dozen questions to you guys, so I figured we would answer them really quick to start. So Dick, one of the questions I put up is, what was your first Thunderbird?
1957. 57 TBird.
Yeah. So I had put up there a 1966 to try and fake people out, the white one, which is one of his favorite cars, but there you have it. What is your daily driver?
I drive a Ford Freestyle.
Cool.
No, it's called a motor. It's called a station wagon, a motor vehicle. It's called a truck by my insurance company.
Really?
I call it an SUV.
I think I've only seen one of them in Tucson.
That's the only one I've seen too.
Right on. So anyway, we wanted to kind of go through some stuff. We get a lot of questions about parts. It's been a huge influx of questions and comments about, do you have this part or that part? If you've been waiting for us, I thank you for your patience and thank you for your business. If you bought stuff recently, greatly appreciate it. But we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stuff we have here, because one of the funny debates is I had put up 100 T-Birds. To clarify, how many T-Birds do you think you've owned completely, if you were to guess?
I'd say probably 200 parts cars over the 42 years.
Okay. Dang, that's a lot. 40. Dang. And so I'd put 100 on there because you used to have 100 cars,
100
right?
At one time, yeah.
And now you've got about 50.
About 50.
Most of them are what years?
64, 5, and 6. Most of them.
Gotcha. 64 is my personal favorite.
66 is mine.
And if you're here at the yard, we know that the white 66, don't touch it. It's not for sale.
Don't touch it. That's right.
What other cars are not for sale?
The 57.
The 57 is not for sale, which I really want to drag out and have him do something with it. I posted a couple pictures. It's in the back corner of our shop here, but the other car that we've been talking about, which if you think we should, you should comment below. And if you'd be interested in buying it, definitely comment. But we have a green or teal, turquoise, greenish blue. Is it 66? 65 T-Bird in the back here. And I don't think I've seen one that's that, for where it's at in its restoration. It's pretty immaculate, right?
Well, it has paint on it that was put on about 16 or 17 years ago, but she's been sitting here collecting dust. But I really haven't touched it, except to move it around.
Yeah. So that's one that we've toyed about. What if we take the car out and put it in this side of the shop and maybe do a restoration on it? But that does cost money. In my mind, you've got every part there is, but I'm sure there's stuff that we'd be missing. But what about chrome? I know chrome seems to come up a lot. A lot of the stuff that we have that's back here, I have a hard time keeping track of all of it, to be honest. I mean, I feel like you've got a system for everything, but
I had a system here, but I'm losing it. But as far as chrome, you're thinking of basically bumpers. I get a lot of people requesting chrome, but it turns out to be stainless steel or aluminum that they're talking about. I have a lot of used bumpers that need to be straightened and re-chromed. Probably 50 of them sitting out there. If you want to go and count them. But there's still more on the cars too.
Well, I think it's tough for guys. I know it's tough for guys like me because I think I think some stuff that I've got questions on or people get stressed about is really ancillary, but I look at some of the bumpers back there and I think, wow, they look pretty good shape. But if you're building a show car, you'd probably want to have them re-chromed, right?
Well, my feeling is they all need to be re-chromed if they're going to use them. There might be a couple that be cleaned up and look good on the driver.
Yeah.
But most of the cars, like the cars I see on Facebook all day, there's some pretty sharp looking cars. I haven't seen anything that unless it's obvious that they're not much more than a parts car, but what they are. It's pretty obvious what they are.
Yeah.
Beautiful, most of them.
Yeah. So if you think we should take that green car out and restore it and write Dick's Bird on the back window or something, I don't know.
Well, Nick, you may have the energy, but I'm losing mine.
I have too much energy.
Well, I'd love to do that,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I live through it.
Well, I hope so. I don't want to think about that yet. So if you guys haven't interacted with Jerry, Jerry's our boy. He's been selling parts, and if you guys have anything that's outstanding, please reach out again. I know that it can be hard to be patient sometimes with stuff. I'm the least patient person there is, so I will always understand if you guys are annoyed with waiting on anything. But I know some stuff's came up, and it's funny how very particular people's needs are sometimes. You know, it's like the questions I get, it just takes, I know it's going to take time, but I mean, since you've been selling them for so long, you have them right off the top of your head most of the time.
Well, I can tell you that I learn stuff every day, but one of the problems that we're getting now is, and it's always discussed on Facebook, what year car are you working on? You know, when you ask questions of 64, 5, and 6, and then you're having some brake problems, it's kind of nice. Eventually you can figure it out, I guess, or I can figure it out.
Yeah.
And then questions you're asking us specifically, it'd be nice to know the year. And in the case where there's differences like 59 and 60, there's two engines. I can't be asked about a water pump on one if I don't know the engine. I can't answer the question properly. And I was thinking of course, convertible stuff. There's convertible stuff. A lot of it is convertible only, but other things aren't. And I go on to say I never parted a convertible, so it's kind of hard to have convertible specific parts. And I tell people, I try to be upfront with them.
Yeah. Well, and we do have the black convertible, but parting it out would be kind of a shame at this point, right?
Definitely. I've had the opportunity, but I'd rather sell as somebody that has mind to fix it, and then I might get some business later down the road.
Yeah. And I've taught, what's funny is the parts that I'm learning are still not available at all in repo and guys like, you know, TBird specialists slinging parts. I mean, an example would be that convertible where, you know, we had a guy inquiring about it the other day, and it's missing the convertible top, everything, right?
Everything.
And, you know, we do have partnerships with other T-Bird companies, so if you're looking for repop stuff, we do sell it. Depending on what it is, we may just direct you directly to someone, or we may sell it to you, but we'll always be straight about it. But that was one thing that we can't get all the parts. And I don't know anybody that can get all the parts short of just buying a scrap car, right?
Well, you can buy a scrap car and still only have the parts you need. So, yeah.
I was talking to Cody, one of our other T-Bird nuts, and he was telling me, I said, Cody, give me the price. It was after that day when the guy came out to look at the car, that same night. I was texting him, and I said, Cody, what do you have for the car that's available? And he didn't have everything, as we know, but just what he had, it came to a price tag of $3,000, just off. And I don't know if that was everything or just off the top of his head, just trying to give me an idea. But I'm like, man, those convertibles, that must be why they bring so much money when they're in really good shape, huh?
Well,
But
the
minus it's a
convertible
convertible.
is much more desirable,
Yeah.
except here in Tucson or Arizona, where they aren't quite as desirable. But you can't use them except in the evening. But the parts that are missing on this car that I could use was to make the car a roadster. If I was to finish it or do something with it. But to buy all the convertible mechanism, the relays, the gears, the pump, the hoses, the cylinders, a lot of that stuff is available.
Yeah.
But the convertible frame itself isn't, except for the parts car. And I believe what happened to this one, before I got it, one of the main arms was broke. And the guy didn't know me, he was a local guy, and he just took everything out and sent it to the dump.
Dang.
I happened to have, I had bought a 64 5.6 convertible frame from TBird Connection in Phoenix years ago, and I had one arm left, but I don't know which one was broken in the car. And I recently had the same thing. I had bought a convertible mechanism for the 6123, and I recently sold the header off of that to a guy here locally that needed one. But convertible parts are hard to find.
Yeah, they're beautiful when they're done, though. I mean, holy smokes! But you can still get the top, right? So it's just mostly the mechanisms that are hard to find.
The convertible part, you can buy you can buy the material.
Yeah.
Have that done. So I'm just sitting here thinking. I've had a 64, a 65, and a 66. And I also had a 63 convertible, and I get to the point, put a price on it, and I needed some money, and they're gone. And I had a beautiful 66 years ago. It looked a lot like one of the Thelma and Louise cars.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was before the movie, though. It was back in the 80s.
Yeah. So okay, now I'm curious. Did that movie have any effect on how much you liked those cars?
No, the like was already there.
Gotcha.
But I can tell you one thing, Thelma and Louise, if the movie's on, I'm going to try to see it.
Well, I just know there's cars that I love. I mean, and I think the movie really helped promote it. Like Gone in 60 Seconds, the 67 Shelby GT500. You've got Back to the Future with, I know it's like the worst car ever made, but I still want a DeLorean. So that's what makes me wonder a little bit. But there's not really that many movie cars with old 60s T-Birds. I know guys try to find little clippets of them, but...
Well, you see them on Facebook once in a while, if somebody will talk about a car that they've seen on a movie, in a movie. But one that I saw was a 61 convertible used in the Perry Mason series, where his Drake was his name.
Gotcha.
Had that 61, and it was here in Tucson, and the guy stole it from the gal that owned it. I was supposed to get the car, purchase it, but some guy got into it, he went there and stole the car, took the car to do work on it, and never gave it back to her. But that would have been a nice car to have if there was, I never saw any proof, it was just a story.
Yeah.
It was from that series. It was a white 61.
The ones I knew about was, I know James Bond had a 60 T-Bird. I thought it was a 64, but maybe a 65.
I don't know.
But that was in one of the movies. Because I actually have the little model car of it. It was the only one I could find that was that 65, 64 body style. And it was because it was in the James Bond movie. And then...
Who's James Bond?
No! Are you serious? You're messing with me.
I'm serious. I'm not serious.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So anyway, but
But I don't recall any Thunderbirds in James Bond.
yeah.
I'm serious.
And then it was funny because someone just posted today or yesterday, there was actually a T-Bird in The Simpsons, and it was clearly a 66 T-Bird, I think, the way they, made it look.
In the
60s
census?
in The Simpsons as a cartoon.
Oh,
But someone posted that, and Thelma and Louise. And I know there's a couple other old movies where they've got little just quick blurbs in it, but those are the ones I know. Which that's a pretty short list.
another one of my favorite movies was Unforgiven. But, I never saw any Thunderbirds in that one.
No?
It's another movie I'll watch every time I see it on TV.
Yeah,
Find out it's there.
that's awesome. So one of the things I'm surprised at is I see a lot of people posting it. I know when I needed them for Ghost, I had a hard time finding them. I bought a set off of Cody, which I still have on the car. I think they were like a personal set of his, but I'm really surprised that we don't get more questions around hubcaps. I don't know why. I feel like I'm expecting to get much more inquiries on that.
Well, I've noticed that most people are putting aftermarket wheels on their cars. There seems to be so much of that. Not my thing, but
Yeah.
I prefer that. I like everything factory.
Oh, I know.
But they do a lot of things now to make the cars drive better, stop better,
Yeah.
look better in the eyes of the person who owns them. I don't know, my 79 that I've got behind the wall here had American mags on it earlier when I first saw the car. And the guy ends up putting the wire wheels right back on before he sells it to me. Threw the American mags away.
See, I do like performance upgrades a lot, and you knew that I had the 66 hubcaps on right away. That was one of the first times I met you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff on Ghost that's 66, and obviously Ghost is 64, but I don't know why. For me, the hubcaps, the original hubcaps on those cars look so much better than big wheels. And I really find I like those the wide whites on there too. But
Well, the wide whites are okay on their place, but 61, I believe, was when they started to downsize the white
Right.
the width. After that, it was an inch or so.
well,
I'm not sure exactly what the measurement was.
but 64 always had factory the skinny,
Right.
yeah, which is what's on my car now. But
But back to your hubcap, the 64, I think, is the most beautiful spinner of the bunch. I like that one the best.
and see, that's what's so funny about it. Like, I don't like them. I don't know why. I know everyone seems to, but that style that's on mine, the 66 with the red insert, I love the way that looks. But I don't know. If
Each to
we're,
each his own.
yeah, you're right. But so let's see. So if we're looking at the scrap cars out back, there's a lot of good sheet metal. There's some cars that have rust on them, but there's a lot of good, because a lot of them have been in Arizona so long. Most of them are pretty rust free, right?
Well, most of them are rust free, of course, but I have a lot of quarter panels still and lots of doors, especially 64, 5, and 6. I have other doors for 61, 2, 3s, and 67, 68.
Lots of hoods.
Yeah, but it seems like everybody wants the 61 hood, which I don't have. And, the hoods I have, I've thinned out pretty much so I wouldn't feel good about selling them unless somebody picked them up.
So you can check them out.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to sell it, going through the process of packaging it, and then getting it, and be unhappy with it.
Shipping it to New York or something.
Well, I get questions of shipping to Canada occasionally.
We've got a lot of people in Canada. I've had a lot of people. oh man, I'm gonna forget half of them. A lot of people overseas have reached out to me. A few people in Ireland, a few people in Australia. And I feel like every time I get those people reaching out, they're super nice. But we sold some parts recently to a guy in New York. We're all over the country. We got one of my favorite customers, Dan Jones, just bought a bunch of stuff from us and emblems, lots of emblems, and we're shipping to Kansas and all over the place. I think we haven't got really much inquiries from Mexico yet.
Well, I have a couple customers in Mexico that I've dealt with. More years ago than now.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of something. I watched it already. Should have just got it in. Oh, Australia. I have a guy that comes from Australia. I never remember his name until he shows up and he tells me. But anyway, he's bought about a dozen 9-inch rear ends from me.
Oh, nice.
And then I had a couple years ago, and they were looking for trinkets. I had some emblems that offered them to them for nothing. And when they left, they had me take a picture of them, and they gave me a $5 Australian bill.
Oh, that's cool. That's really
I
cool.
thought that was good.
Yeah.
Of course, I can't spend it here. But I wasn't expecting anything. I was just being cordial.
Yeah.
And we had a nice conversation, visit for about a half hour, and that's what happened.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I did have a bunch of people from New Zealand too. But yeah.
Good question. I kind of shy away from doing any shipping. There's enough other people that ship to overseas. I don't mind Mexico and Canada.
You just had stuff happen in the past, or?
Well, I did ship a quarter panel, or a pair of quarter panels to a guy in North Dakota. It's been quite a few years, but they didn't show up, and they tracked them, and they got lost in Canada somehow. And when they finally got back to North Dakota, Bismarck, I believe it was, somebody stuck a forklift through a quarter panel. Of course, I wasn't responsible, and I didn't have to take any responsibility. That happens, I guess. Shit.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we could do just a quick rundown and then kind of end the video, but maybe a quick rundown of the cars that we currently have for sale. I know I post them on, we've posted them on the Facebook Marketplace. We posted them on a number of different places, and that's really Jerry's been doing a lot of the posting for those cars. And if we're close and all on the numbers, reach out. Let's see if we can do something. But so the first car that we have for sale in the row would be our 66 black. It's black on black convertible. Stop me if I'm messing this up. There's no top, but we have the complete interior. The interior is not roached out, but it probably still needs. But to me, the interior looked in great shape.
Well, it looks better than the car.
Okay. And you did jack the car up the other day, and the engine does turn over.
Yes, I can turn the engine.
But we haven't ran it or anything since ever, or in years.
Well, I had never tried to start it. I was told when I purchased it that it was a dead short someplace. And everything's disconnected. I tried to turn it with a starter.
Oh, I see.
And it was dead short, so maybe it's in the starter, I don't know.
But it could be a beautiful roadster if someone wanted to spend a little time. I mean, for a convertible, you can't get a convertible that cheap, right?
Well, a person can make a roadster out of it. It just needs a couple of brackets, pivots, one for the deck, the rear deck, and I got one side for the deck to go up.
Gotcha.
And the part for the flip panel That could probably be Mickey Mouse, and then depending on if you wanted to use it as a trunk in a roadster, you have to pick it up yet still and find some way to
lift up that.
I do have the motor to run the 2 screws. I do have that motor. So a guy can bring that up so it just runs the screws and lift the deck up.
Maybe a good project for like a father-son project or something. So why don't you, I botched the color on, why don't you tell us about the next one in the row?
63 is what they call chestnut in 63, but
It's not orange?
it's not orange. Ember Glow is what it turned out to be in 65, later on, but it's Ember Glow, and it has the original paint on it, original interior.
And
we looked at the dash, and we advertised it a few months ago. The dash was still nice. It's original. The chrome's all nice on it. Got a couple little nicks and stainless on the front fender. But it was purchased out of Oklahoma. Had a seized engine, and the local Ford dealer put something in there, and I don't know what it was. It wasn't for me, for the guy that found it in Oklahoma. It looks like it's probably a truck engine because it's a 2-barrel.
Gotcha.
It's probably a 360 or could be a 390 out of the truck.
But it probably, with a little bit of work, would run.
Well, it was running before it sat for
Running
all those
when
years.
you parked it?
That was my stepdad's favorite car, and we had that, and we had the 66 Landau, Tom Landau. But he liked this car better. This is the car we used when I ran to the doctor's office in the late 90s.
Nice. And then the next car is actually sold, right? The
77 is sold to my neighbor here. It's
Okay.
Catalina.
And then
Auto Recycling owns it.
And then the following car is a white 66 T-Bird, which if you mention sell, you might get thrown out.
Yep, I've owned that car since 1982.
And it has an 8-track, right?
It's 8-track. It's a pretty well optioned car, with the exception of power windows. And I like cars without power windows.
Yeah.
I'm long enough, tall enough, I can reach over and crank the passenger window down if I have to.
Gotcha.
And if you go to the little switch on the dash or the console and it doesn't work, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I've been to that movie. I feel like business has grown or been gaining momentum a lot the last month or so since we started posting that. Would you agree?
I would agree with you, yes.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun for a guy like me. You know, I really love these cars. So for me, it gives me a lot of enjoyment to be able to help you along.
Are you looking for a raise? Yeah.
He said it. I mean, yeah. But so we have the auction coming up, right?
I hope we get it going, yeah.
So right now we've kind of got our stage set up a little bit. I still have to finish that, getting my artistic side going. So I'm trying to make it look fancy, but we are going to be doing an auction. The goal was probably the original timeline's already passed for the original goal, but I think from my perspective, I want to make sure it's done really well. So hopefully within the next few days, or maybe have some time to spend on it this weekend, maybe we can come up with a date here by next week or something.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Just have to find a lot of nice stuff to put up there.
Yeah. And you have a couple hidden gems, I think, don't you?
I do, but every time I put my eyes on them, I said, well, I can't sell those. Gotta keep those special gems.
No, we gotta sell it.
I've got one I'll talk to you about right now. I have an NOS. The motor for the sequentials of the 65, 66. I ordered it in the 80s, and Ford I ordered something for a relay of some sort, like they ordered the wrong one for me. Well, I kept it and checked it a couple times. It still works. It's nice and quiet compared to the used ones I have.
So that one will be in the auction. Sounds like.
I might, but you know, it's got a lot of money invested in it. I hate to put it up in the auction.
Well, so we
I
will.
can't replace it. So.
We will have a minimum on our auction just so we make sure we don't lose our keister on stuff, but maybe that'll be in the auction.
It could be, yeah.
All right.
Well, I remember paying, must have been $50 or $60 for that thing back in the 80s. Early 80s.
Okay.
But I still have it in the box. It's an NOS.
And some of the parts that people have inquired about that we've taken the time to get ready and prepped, those I actually I kind of put all those together today to bring back for the auction too. And so some of that stuff, if you've inquired about different items, it probably will be in there. If you're looking for something that you want us to auction, comment in this video or on Facebook or message me or call Dick or however it's easiest for you. We have lots of chrome, lots of sheet metal. We have good engine cores, right?
In cars, still, yes.
Yeah, and transmissions.
In cars.
Yeah.
We sold most of the loose ones.
I noticed leaf springs sitting out, a Ford 9-inch rear end sitting out there.
Well, that's not the kind that's in demand, but I bet there's 10 of them out there in the cars yet.
Yeah.
The 9-inch rear end.
We have lots of hoods, lots of fenders, used hinges. We've sold lots of emblems. I know you've got some a lot of different window motors, just depending on what people are looking for, right?
Well, I've been digging them out for our special customer.
Yeah. Which I just talked to him the other day. So yeah, we do have a couple great customers that bought larger quantities. We ended up selling a bunch of transmissions. So business has been taking off.
Yes. The trouble is we don't have any loose transmissions to sell now.
I know those things went fast. Yeah, and it's tough too because like we had talked about, if you sell them in bulk, you get usually a little bit less money for them, but you get the money now. Versus if we had waited, we probably for sure could have got a lot more money, but those definitely went fast. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching all the content. I appreciate all the comments and business. And slowly but surely, we're prying some of this stuff out of Dick's collection. But if there's stuff you're wondering about that you haven't seen or curious, keep the comments coming. If I haven't followed up, please message me back, and we'll see you soon. We'll post updates in it's ITC Thunderbird, right? Is that what the group's name?
That's the biggest one.
Yeah, I'm gonna post in that group, and then I'm gonna post in my group that I started on Facebook, the Arizona Thunderbird Club. I'm gonna post in that as well. That way people know that's where they can go to find info for it. But yeah, as always, thanks again. This is the Dick Hoagland, the TBird specialist. Nick Vitus, Garage Auto Blog. Thanks for watching.